All right, joining us now live to talk about this issue further is Etana Dinka. He's an assistant professor of history at the James Madison University. Mr. Dinka, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So what can you tell us about this latest offensive by the Ethiopian army against the Tigray forces? Was there an imminent threat that prompted the government to react, or was it a preemptive action?
Perhaps it's very important to understand this new round of war from the perspective of Addis Ababa first. A few months ago, when Addis Ababa encountered defeat in Tigray in the hands of Tigray Defense Forces, it refused to admit the defeat and told the world that it's making a unilateral ceasefire, which is not true. The unilateral ceasefire declared by Prime Minister Abiy and his government is a refusal to admit defeat, and they were already signaling at the time of what they called a unilateral defeat to come back to Tigray. So after the defeat of Abiy's forces and Amara regional armies, Tigray pushed farther south into the Amara regional state. And now, between the defeat months ago and now, the government in Addis Ababa were making and reorganizing new forces, and now it came back. And this time is very important because it's a time when the world is calling for a ceasefire, because the lives of millions of people right now are in danger, particularly in Tigray. So the Addis Ababa initiative for a new round of war is the illustration of to what extent Abiy Ahmed is determined to impose his power on Tigray, even at the cost of millions of lives.
Now, I do want to talk about Abiy Ahmed later and what it means for him to hold on to this right now. But first thing I'd like to know, following the expulsion of the UN humanitarian workers, the U.S. and the EU now have threatened Ethiopia with sanctions. But following new attack, it seems your government does not back down to pressure. So, what are your thoughts on this?
The problem of Ethiopian government with United Nations workers is clear. United Nations workers are doing their work, which is saving lives at danger, and the number of lives at danger right now are very large. Not only saving lives, the UN workers also try to communicate what they are doing to the world, and this is not what Addis Ababa don't want to see. They don't want to see what is happening in Tigray to come out to the eyes of the world. That is the only reason why Addis Ababa expelled the high-ranking UN officials. And now they are asking United Nations to replace the expelled workers, which is unlikely, I think. So that is the perspective of Addis Ababa government. Otherwise, United Nations workers were doing their work in Tigray and other parts of the country, like they have been doing similar work as in other parts of the country and around the world. So they have no political position, and they haven't shown any political position, but Addis Ababa is not backtracking its position.
But there is another side to this. When we look at it, there's been more new developments. Just today, the UN Migration Agency recalled a staff member over audio recordings containing some criticism of senior UN officials. And in this recording, it said that some of the top UN officials globally sympathize with forces from Tigray. The Tigray forces that are fighting the government right now. So what do you think of the future of this conflict? Do you think it's, as things progress and evolve, that we're going to see international forces taking sides in this conflict, supporting insurgent groups or the government per se?
In the future, it's unlikely that Abiy is coming back to exert himself as a man of peace. He has always been a man of war.
Interesting. Etana Dinka, thank you so much for taking out the time to speak to us. It was a pleasure listening to you and understanding this conflict a little better.
Thank you.